What's up, you guys? Oberyn Moonie here. I mean, holy shit. Like, that's the only thing I could say. This episode, I know I've been saying this about every goddamn episode this season, but seriously, it just keeps getting better and better. This was the episode of Ice and Fire. I mean, this was what I was really hoping they were going to do this season. I mean, they are not backing down from doing fucking lore at all. Okay, jumping in. Here we go. The North. Okay, Cold Hands. Finally. Okay, so not only do we get answer about the White Walkers, we got Cold Hands. I think we could say that it's Benjen Stark. I mean, I fully think that it's Benjen Stark. I mean, especially that they said that the Night's King is basically the one that's leading the White Walkers right now. I feel like Benjen Stark is Cold Hands. I mean, I feel like we could just go ahead and like say, like there's things that I think just work in the books, and like the show would confirm it. Like, why wouldn't they confirm it? You know what I mean? But at the same point in time, the show could purposely be changing things to try and deter it away from the books to not ruin the books. That being said, I think Benjen being Cold Hands makes so much. I mean, can you say fucking Death Knight? I mean, I'm sorry for people that love lore. I'm like, dude, he's a Death Knight. Like, that's basically what they are. Like, they're like he's a Night's Watch member, and now he got the fire glass put in his heart. Which, see, now that kind of makes me that is interesting, because see, fire glass is what can destroy them, but it also is what powers them. To me, that doesn't necessarily make sense. I mean, I kind of wonder if that's what they'll do in the book. I mean, I hope it does make sense, because maybe dragon glass is just extremely powerful. I mean, that's why it causes like a metamorphosis in humans. That being said, I think it's interesting. Well, keep in mind that that the lore of fire glass is that it's frozen fire. So maybe dragon glass is like fire based at its core, but it's like frozen, and like whatever froze it is so cold that like it literally froze fire. You know what I mean? And that's why they have kind of like power over fire, if that makes sense. Or it's just the fact that if someone is being changed by fire and it gives them master over fire, well, what would be master over fire if not ice? You know what I mean? Like, anyway, sorry, going back into lore, I just really love the White Walker lore. I'm so glad that they went into it and explained it. Okay, so it was the Children of the Forest that basically saved Benjen. They did basically, like, he did get destroyed, found by the White Walkers. As far as I know, it doesn't matter about his Stark blood. Like, that doesn't have anything to do with why he wasn't changed or anything like that. Maybe that's why the Children of the Forest helped him, though, instead of the other people. But yeah, okay. Alright, so, and it seems like Hodor is dead. That's unfortunate. I really hope that he wasn't, just because I love Hodor. I felt like he had more to the story. However, I think Benjen now will really be like the one that's going to catch us up on like a lot of other things. But anyway, like going more into the lore, so now Bran is starting to have these other visions. He's starting to kind of learn everything. So badass that we actually got to see the Mad King and King Aerys and like the whole like wildfire kind of stuff. You know, it's just man, oh gosh. So, oh man, it's just so cool. Okay, so basically, I think it's pretty like, I mean, I thought it was pretty obvious that basically what the vision was telling him was to destroy the White Walkers using that fire. However, that is also equivalent to dragon fire. The green flames is basically, it burns kind of like napalm, from the explanation in the books, because it just won't stop burning. Like, even water won't put it out. However, so it seems like it says that, and it could get as hot as dragon flame. Like, it's one of the only things that could get as hot as dragon flame. So that being said, I definitely think that that's going to be like that was a 1 + 1 = 2 kind of thing, kind of vision. Like, he was showing him King Aerys, because that seeing the Mad King tells him so much. I mean, it tells him that Jaime really helped people, and maybe to trust Jaime. You know, that maybe he wasn't like a really bad person in a weird way. It's so weird, because I mean, you can tell that basically everyone is going to have to end up working together. But yeah, I think that the vision was definitely showing the wildfire, because I think that's going to be a pivotal thing of what they're going to use against the White Walkers. I mean, and I also think that Bran, now that he has the mark of the Night's King on him, if Bran goes through the wall, I think that will definitely break the enchantment, because all I think the Night's King needs is like one person with his mark to get past the wall, and that's it. Because I mean, I still kind of don't understand why the White Walkers haven't made it past the wall yet. Like, I kind of wonder what they're waiting for. You know what I mean? Because I mean, they have like obviously a huge army. You know, like it's crazy. Anyway, so great to see that Bran and Mira are at least in a little bit better situation, finally getting to see Cold Hands after, like, all this wait, kind of coming at the other end of the whole, like, Three-Eyed Raven thing. So it's going to be interesting to see what Benjen knows. Like, what is his opinion on, like, what happened with the watch? You know what I mean? Like, what does he think about Jon leading it? Like, would he be cool with that? You know what I mean? Like, would he be like, what the fuck? Like, I leave, and then now my nephew that I brought up here to join is, like, my leader. You know, like, it's just weird. Like, does Benjen even have love for the watch still? I mean, who knows? Anyway, yeah, that was intense, man. Okay, going to kind of ping-ponging to Arya in Braavos. Okay, I did not think... damn. Like, alright, so she's leaving the Faceless Men. Like, basically, everyone is, like, getting into their final form, as I call it. Like, Jon is in his final form. He's resurrected. Sansa's in her final form. She's no longer a lamb. Arya's, like, killer, but, like, she still has a soul and that kind of stuff. She's still a Stark. Needle is back in her hand. You know, but yet the Faceless Men feel like they have to kill her. This is where I hope, honestly, what I feel like what might end up happening is maybe Arya will die. I don't know, but I feel like her warg powers will start coming in, and see, the Faceless Men don't really know about her warg powers, so that could be like her eternal one up on them. If she can have, like, you know, because then she could technically have eyes when she's sleeping. Because as far as I know, when wargs sleep, that means they can still have their body sleeping and resting, and when they're in the wolf. So therefore, you know, like, they never have to be technically 100% asleep. So I honestly think that's what might happen. Hopefully we see more direwolf action in Nymeria, because, like, you know, you hear about all these badass things. You know, Brotherhood Without Banners are attacking the Freys. The Freys are getting picked the fuck apart by the Riverlords. I mean, finally you're getting there to, like, where, like, I feel vengeance is, like, right on the verge, you know? Like, and the fact that we're already, like, halfway done with this season, more than halfway done with the season, it's like, holy shit, you know what I mean? Like, you know, the episodes have already been so good. Like, I don't even know what's coming at this season finale, you know? It's just so many things that are just like, okay, awesome. Like, you know, this is definitely setting it up for, like, the end game. Like, we're seeing the end game of Game of Thrones, and you're seeing, like, years of planning culminate. Okay, so with Arya, yeah, I don't really know. I think, like I just said, I think that whole trope was interesting because it shows that no matter what, she still has a conscience. I don't really know if it was the right decision to leave the Faceless Men at that point in training. I feel like she should have got a couple of kills under her belt before she decided to leave. Well, however, we know that in the book, she does actually end up killing someone. Like, she's a true Faceless Man in the book, and she hasn't left yet in the books, from what we know. The books, from all we know in the books, only go to the Mercy chapter, and even then, like, she wasn't even supposed to kill one of the actors. Sorry, but book spoilers, but spoilers anyway. Yeah, that was just, like, insane. So going from Braavos, leaving Arya from there, going to Horn Hill, that was really badass. Horn Hill is way bigger than I expected, but the show kind of, I think, it's not like, it doesn't, like, do one for one of, like, the description of the castles to the books and that kind of stuff. We actually haven't seen Horn Hill in the books, like the Song of Ice and Fire books, but you see Horn Hill, I believe, in the map book, and you get a really great description of it in the World of Ice and Fire. So, you kind of can tell what Horn Hill is, and it's kind of like what I call, like, a second-tier castle. It's big, it's one of the major castles, but it's not like a legendary castle. Like, the legendary castles are like Winterfell, Harrenhal, Storm's End, Casterly Rock, you know, like, where the major people live, the Eyrie. Those are, like, major castles. Legendary castles. Those are, like, legendary, like, probably have magic within them castles. Nonetheless, Horn Hill was obviously, it's a pretty powerful seat. So I really, really like that. Even though they're changing a lot of the whole story with Sam and Gilly compared to the books, I'm liking where it's going, because I honestly like show Sam better than I I like book Sam, just because I do think that after a while of what Sam accomplished, he would get some type of courage. And they show that in the show, and in the books, he's still kind of like this like coward. You know what I mean? Like, even though he's killed a White Walker, even though he's like done all these things, like adventured, he's still kind of like total coward. And I get like that even when people do brave things, that doesn't mean that they're brave all the time. But I just enjoy like seeing a character change, and like Sam definitely changes. So yeah, that was just, man, okay, that was pretty damn amazing. The other thing that I'm gonna go touch upon is, of course, the everything that's going on at King's Landing. Even though the funny thing is, I know I covered Hornhill before King's Landing, but honestly, Hornhill was kind of like a segue, because King's Landing is another major entity of what's going on. Tom, the scene with Tommen and Marjorie was very interesting, because you kind of wonder if Marjorie's being sincere, or is she just trying to get out of the situation? You know what I mean? Like, I honestly can't say if she's like fully converted and like drank the Kool-Aid of what the High Sparrow is saying, just to get out, because of the way that she saw Loras, and Loras was like practically begging her to just give the High Sparrow what they want so that way they can get out. The thing is I think that she thinks like everything is going to be okay, but like Loras' atonement, like I don't think he's going to get out of there alive. Like, honestly, I really don't. Like, but then again, the High Sparrow is playing a really like political game. I mean, I was kind of thinking, how the hell was the High Sparrow? At first, I thought he was going to martyr himself, like straight up. Like, I thought like he was going to just like he only cared about the movement. His end game was just getting like the Seven out there and like getting the Seven to turn on the kingdoms. He's not that big of a fanatic. Obviously, he does have an end game, so which leads me to believe that he is not fully as pious as he says he is. I think that he does have an end game. He does have some sort of want. And I mean, maybe it's power. I mean, at this point, because as you can see, and it was really symbolic, when Tommen and Marjorie are standing with the crowd, the High Sparrow is right there with them. So he's basically symbolically saying, I am as high as the king and queen. So it's no longer the king and queen and then the gods. It is the gods, king and queen. And basically, the whole show was that even when people use the name of the king to try and order people, the gods don't have to answer, and that's fucking dangerous. I mean, even in real life, we see how fanaticism has like completely, like, seriously, it doesn't care about governments, it doesn't care about age, it doesn't care about anything. It just cares about power and gaining more power for their cause, which is religion. So it's really interesting to see how that's going to play out, because I really think that Tommen's spelling his doom. Honestly, what I thought was going to happen was that Cersei and Jaime was going to like get really crazy and then end up spilling the beans that Tommen was not Robert Baratheon's son, and that I think would get Tommen straight up killed, because even like Kevin Lannister, who's their uncle, would, I don't think, be down with like what they would consider an abomination. So yeah, I thought it was really crazy. Seeing Mace Tyrell all puffed up like that was pretty hilarious, because in the book he's such an oaf, like the way that the way that they like describe him and that kind of stuff. So it's really funny to see like just like him like be this oaf in like really elegant armor, like leading this like super like soldiers and that kind of stuff. And you could tell Jaime was just like, this guy's a dumbass. Like, this guy's a complete idiot. I thought it was really cool the way Queen of Thorns like got out and was just like, like, oh, this is nothing, but yeah, like, it's just one of those things where you're like, man, like, oh man, like it's just such a bad situation, because like now Tommen and Marjorie, who are basically the ruling people of the city, are now firmly under control, seemingly, by the High Sparrow. So now, even though Kevin Lannister and like the Queen of Thorns wanted to kind of like push away Cersei and Jaime, now they're kind of getting even pushed out, because they're going to have to agree with the High Sparrow now, or basically Tommen's going to be like, well, get away. So it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out, because I don't think that the faith is going to, I think the Lannisters are going to realize they need to deal with the faith like soon. I don't know what's going to happen with it, honestly. I don't know how the faith is going to play out. I mean, what would happen if the faith found out that White Walkers were real? You know what I mean? Like, what would happen? Like, would they mechanize and go after the White Walkers? You know, would they help with that? Would they refute it? Would they? I mean, I don't really know, because see, the faith is so like anti-magic. It's so ground like in kind of Christianity, where anything that is not like realistic and stuff is like evil or not real, or a trick of the devil or a trick of evil and that kind of stuff. So it's really interesting to see like how they're going to accept that like magic is real in that world. Especially because, okay, now we're going to Daenerys Stoneborn, dude. Oh my god. Finally, this is the Daenerys that needs to be. Like, she needs to be at the head of an army on Drogon, who is like huge now. Like, he's like the Black Dread. He's the new Black Dread. He's Balerion reborn, man. She is like Aegon the Conqueror, basically reborn, I feel. She's a perfect parallel to Jon, who I feel is very ice, like champion of ice, even though he's supposedly the Song of Ice and Fire. I feel like he is definitely like the champion of ice, the Stark side of this story. So I just feel like they're both coming into like this leadership of themselves, where they're both legends. I mean, the way that people look at Daenerys is the same way that they look at Jon Snow when he was resurrected. Like, they think that she's a god, they think that he's a god. They both went through crazy magical transformations again, you know. So it's just interesting, like to see like her parallel, because now she has an army. She's basically left what she knew. She knows that she can't dilly-dally anymore. She's not going to keep her dragons like ever chained up again, because she knows that they are her greatest asset. And dude, like, that was where, and the crazy thing is, I think that her relationship with Daario has come to an end, quite honestly. Because you could tell that he's just kind of getting weirded out, and like he's kind of wondering where like he fits in with this like whole new like conquering queen Daenerys. But at the same point in time, it's kind of like, Daario, dude, like, sorry, but you know that, I mean, she's always been very open about, she's never let Westeros go. However, I do think that he brought up a good point, that she's a conqueror. Like, she's not meant to sit on an Iron Throne and delegate and do all this. So honestly, I don't know if Westeros will ever be like a consolidated kingdom again, even if it's the combination of 7 kingdoms. Like, honestly, what I see happening is I see Daenerys and Jon ruling an empire in a way. However, I feel like they're gonna, I feel like Jon and Daenerys are gonna have to ally at some point. I know a lot of people feel like they're gonna war with each other, but I just don't feel like that's gonna happen. Like, the White Walkers are too big of a threat, you know what I mean? Like I don't know. It's just not gonna. I don't feel like it's gonna happen that way, unless they somehow magically allying with the White Walkers to fight the denizens of fire and the dragons for some reason, which I just don't see happening. I more see the like the dragons being a super saving grace to the people fighting the White Walkers in a desperate battle. Like, I honestly do think now that Jon might become a dragon rider, because not only do a lot of people believe he has Targaryen blood, he has also been resurrected by fire. So now I feel like he is kind of magically connected to fire, the way that dragons are magically connected to fire, in the sense that whatever powers fire magically, the battery, is also what magically connects Jon and the dragons, you know, and that kind of stuff. Maybe even Daenerys, because Valerians seem to have a very like magical blood connection to magic. And fire, particularly fire magic, so yeah, it's really interesting. I cannot wait. I kind of wonder, I thought she was going to go into the Dragon Riders thing when she was talking about the Blood Riders, but she basically made like the entire Dothraki nation her Blood Riders, which is fucking awesome. I feel, and but I really wonder, like, now I think she's understanding, like, okay, like, I need to do this right. Like, I know that I was doing things in a way that was trying to help people, but I need to help people and also maintain a structure and not break down. So I really think that she's never gonna like be sorry about her dragons again. I mean, she understands that dragons are killers. That's just how they are. She's a killer too. So I really do think that when she gets to Marine, she will most definitely probably name 2 other dragon riders, or at least 1 other dragon rider, and maybe keep the other dragon open, or who knows. So yeah, man, crazy episode. Love this, because I feel like this explained so many sides. Like, you got so much of the ice lore, and you got so much of the fire lore. man, just so many things coming together. So yeah, you guys, I hope you guys enjoyed the episode as much as I did. I'm sure there might have been a couple things I didn't go over yet. There was stuff I wanted to go over from last week, but this episode was just so awesome. So anyway, yeah, trying to get to 150 subscribers still. Please like and share my Facebook page and like and share the video as well. And thank you guys so much for the continued support. Those guys that watch religiously every week. I'm seriously trying to get videos out a little bit sooner, so this one's going to be up way sooner than the other two were. Thank you guys so much, and until next week, Valor Magulis.